Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners have had a pretty rough go at it over these past couple of months. But the holiday season is finally upon us, and I sense some winter waves on the horizon. My name is Royce Jacob. Welcome back to Waves Capital. I felt it was especially appropriate, given the sentiment of this video, to rock the good old wave shirt. So let's get into it, you guys. Gonna keep it short and sweet today. We're not talking any fundamentals. We are talking specifically technicals. Maybe I'll chime in with a few fundamentals, but we're not looking at any articles or anything. We're sticking straight to TradingView, talking Riot Platforms, and as always, if we're covering Bitcoin miners, we got to kick it off with Bitcoin first, because ultimately the price action of Bitcoin miners mostly tracks Bitcoin. And today was actually an example of, kind of a weird dynamic between Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners, but I will explain that as we progress through the video. Okay, so Bitcoin currently sitting at a price of $28,500. Sunday, October 15th was one for the books, was one that really kind of turned the tide, to stick to the analogy of this video, because we saw like a 10% move in a single day, and considering that was a Sunday too, that's especially impressive. So, as always, when we're taking a look at the charts, talking about the longer term, I want to talk October, November, even going into the new year, as far as Bitcoin and Riot are concerned. Let's kick it off with the short term first, though, and just talk about kind of how we got to where we are right now. So again, you can see here, right off the bat, what sticks out is some amazing volume. This chart, or the TradingView analytics, literally you can see the volume going up tick by tick. I wish I recorded this like 10 minutes ago, my bad, but this all just recycled. Regardless, the volume, as you can see here, is spiking. We are seeing some massive volume. I believe yesterday, because I just talked about it in my newsletters that I wrote right before recording this, I believe we saw 3x volume on Monday the 16th. So that's amazing. That volume was followed, of course, by a break of short-term resistance right here. So short-term resistance, yellow line, touch point, creating that line of resistance, shot right through that, and the rally continued all the way back up to the line of resistance on this reclaimed ascending channel pattern that's been in place since early September, okay? So for over a month, Bitcoin held this channel. We broke below it for a week or two here. But with this break of short-term resistance, we did reclaim it, came up, perfectly tested the top line of conservative resistance. As always, you guys, use multiple touch points. I advise the more touch points, the better when creating trend lines. Perfectly tested that on that initial 10% rally up. Have corrected a bit since then, but the trajectory is looking strong. And now I feel like it's a good time to go to the daily, because as you can see here, when we're looking at RSI and stochastic RSI curled upwards on the 1D candles, that's bullish. 1D RSI is back above its exponential moving average, as you can see right here where my cursor's hovering around, and that's very, very good news. Okay, so from here, what happens from here? On top of that, from a macro perspective, Bitcoin did just break back above and close the daily candle above its 200-day moving average, which, as far as macro traders and macro analysts are concerned, they view that as very bullish, okay? I don't put a crazy amount of weight on it personally, but because I know other people care about it, it is relevant, okay? So that's all good news, very, very good news, short, medium, and long term. If the technicals are looking good from those three time frames, then, I mean, there's not much more to say as far as general momentum goes. But price targets, let's talk specifics. Where do I think Bitcoin goes from here? I think the very, very obvious point, the next point of resistance from here is going to be Bitcoin's line of broken support. TA 101, we just talked about it over here on the shorter term. Broken support tends to act as new resistance, and broken resistance tends to act as new support, okay, vice versa. So in this case, Bitcoin was holding this massive ascending channel for the majority of 2023. I'm sure you all remember this. Once we broke below there, that's when things started getting sluggish, that summer lull. But I do think that this will come into play very, very nicely as a new point of resistance. You can see here, touch point, very clear line of resistance. Once we broke below that, that's when we were really sold off right here on in mid-August as well. So from current levels at 28,500, give or take a few bucks, that would be, in the case that we see this tested within the next week or two, I guess by October 25th, That would take us up another 12%, back above $31,000. Almost to $32,000 on the top end of the sideways range that Bitcoin has held really since April of this year. Okay, so that is going to be my first point of contact. From there, if Bitcoin can reclaim this long-term macro ascending channel, then that's when things really get exciting. Okay, I got to move this around because I wish those just stayed in place. But best case scenario for Bitcoin by the new year, and I'll just throw in some new year price targets just for fun. If Bitcoin, grab this rocket just for theatrical purposes. If Bitcoin can reclaim this ascending channel, break back above this prior line of support on this long-term ascending channel, then I think that leaves a lot of room for Bitcoin to go on to achieve new highs. Okay, it wouldn't be new all-time highs, but new highs. Definitely new 2023 highs, I'll say, by January 1st of 2024. So again, reclaim this prior long-term ascending channel, shoot up, rocket up, potentially to the top line of resistance on that reclaimed long-term ascending channel. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Again, we do have the halving coming up in April or May of 2024. That's such a strong catalyst. And again, the more people who are aware of this halving happening, the more it becomes a buy the hype, sell the news event. Okay, so just keep an eye out for that. Just keep that in mind and, stay pumped because, I think these winter waves are coming. Let's talk about Riot, okay? Riot Platforms is looking, not very good today. So, as I said earlier, I talked about this in the newsletter as well. Bitcoin popped 10% Sunday night. So, just to preface this, if you're watching this at a later date in time, this could come into play again. So, I'll just try to keep it, discuss the principles that were involved here, okay? Bitcoin on Sunday, over the course of the weekend, popped 10%. I believe into the trading day on Monday today, we were up 5 or 6% once the market opened. Riot opened up about 10%, which is about 2x from where Bitcoin was sitting, which is typically what you'd expect, like a 2x on price action from miners. So Bitcoin pops 2%, Bitcoin miners pop, 4 to 5%. That's typically what we see. But today, you know what? I'll just reference the newsletter. I know I brought them up here because I'm going to plug it here. This was just the newsletter I sent out right before sending this video. Both of these are from today, so I'll shout this out after. But let's scroll down to not Render Token, but Riot Platforms. So I think there's still some hesitance. I'll just read this over, okay? I think there's still some hesitance around Bitcoin miners given their performance over recent months, which is understandable. But if Bitcoin keeps climbing, then I expect this residual fear to be shaken out quickly. Okay, so this is a little more short term for the newsletter peeps. But if Bitcoin continues to climb, if Bitcoin does what I just said it would and retest that line of broken supports, then I think Riot could at the very least, come up to test the line of, I'll say like non-conservative resistance. This yellow line is conservative resistance. This green line right here is the line of just standard, I'll say longer term resistance. This has been in place since mid-July. So long-term resistance on Riot's downtrend that's occurred for the past few months now, I do think is likely in the case that Bitcoin continues to climb. If we reach this we'll just go, super conservative I guess would be October 31st. That would lead to, an $11.70 ride or a 24% move up from here. I think that's easily doable. I think that Riot can climb much higher than that if Bitcoin does do it. And I'll talk about why I think Riot will be, Riot Blockchain, Riot Platforms will be sitting above $14 on Halloween Day on October 1st after I shout out the newsletter and portfolio. So, as always, if you guys want to know how I'm trading my personal portfolio on a day-to-day basis, all the call options I have, put options, stock positions, cryptocurrency positions, that I do update every single trading day during market hours, along with these two newsletters. This is the trade alert newsletter. Okay, below this is a list of my entire positions, updated daily. Once again, just talking macro, talking Bitcoin, talking earnings, talking stocks, everything. If you guys want these two, again, are just from today. This is every day. If you guys want my daily newsletters, along with a complete breakdown of my personal portfolio, that's the first link in the description. My complete portfolio and daily newsletter. Pick any of these plans you want. It's up to you. I always recommend trying it free for 7 days. And if you don't like it, you can just peace out. But that's pretty rare from what I've seen. And, I do take pride in that, to be completely honest. So if you do join, welcome to the winning team. Welcome aboard. And if not, no worries at all. I appreciate you watching this video. Riot Platforms is currently printing a pretty massive head and shoulders pattern, or I should say a prospective head and shoulders pattern. I have no idea if this will play out yet, but to me, it looks like this could play out. And I've seen many patterns, especially large ones like this. I think for Riot too, I feel like we covered this in like 2021 or something, a pattern very similar to this, like very lengthy, very drawn out. I'm not going to go reference that right now, but I do have a hunch. Let me know in the comments below if you happen to remember that. But regardless, Riot Platforms, both number ones in my book in their given classes. Riot Platforms is currently printing what I perceive to be a massive, very broad-shouldered head and shoulders pattern. Okay, you can see the base of the first shoulder here came up, went sideways, creating a very elongated, nice collarbones on this one shoulder. Created the head, came back down to that pretty almost exactly the same level, same range from about like 10 like we'll just call it $9 to $9 to $13. Pretty big range, but still a sideways range given how volatile this head was. So clip that. Sideways, creating that first shoulder. Second shoulder is panning out right now. If I already did this, but we can just do it again. Delete that. If we copy and paste this initial shoulder, put it straight to the neckline of the head, that would take us to exactly October 31st or Halloween day, which is why I set that price target, okay? So if we reapproach the range on the shoulder, this is the very top here around 1450. I have this right here as well because that's just a little more conservative, and I would actually feel safer as setting this for the head and shoulders target, which is about 1380. If we can see that by Halloween, so in the next 2 weeks from now, that would result in a 45 to 50% climb to resolve this head and shoulders by Halloween day. And from there, of course, I'll definitely post a bridge if that happens because I'll be pumped, and obviously the portfolio will be in a good place as well. But if we can reclaim this ascending channel, that is even more impressive than Bitcoin's this big old white thing right here. I do think that Riot Platforms, I'm sorry this looks so messy, but I think that Riot Platforms come 2024 at some point. Again, Bitcoin halving, this is all extended all the way out to July of next year. So Bitcoin halving around this area right here. If Riot jumps the gun and we see Bitcoin rally prior to the Bitcoin halving, I think Riot will follow suit, and I think we will be breaking back above $40. I'm sorry, that's not new all-time highs, but they've issued new shares. The macro environment is different. That's just the reality of it. But still very, very impressive considering that would be a 4x from here. I think Riot could see $40+ super conservatively speaking by the summer of 2024, given the Bitcoin halving, given just everything going on. Okay, that's the video, you guys. I hope you appreciated it. I hope you got some value out of it. Let me know in the comments down below if you're trading Riot right now, if you're invested in Riot. And of course, if you're looking to jump aboard, that's the first link in the description once again. Until next time, you guys, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.